Minimalists.
All right, Denzel wants to know, is it possible to be a minimalist as a teenager?
You know what? Our audience before our documentary came out skewed to be more our age. You know, you and I are 37. Well, you're almost 37. And
how dare you?
And you know, a lot of people in our audience were 35 to 55 years old. And since our documentary came out, and especially since we're doing more stuff on YouTube, I've noticed a lot of people showing up to our events who are in college or are in high school.
Yeah.
And we're seeing more and more people who are young who are being influenced because they're realizing the perils of their parents' ways of living.
I wish I would have known about minimalism in high school, man.
Or you were a teenager.
Well, yeah, I wish I would have. Well, knowing about it and connecting with it the way I do are two separate things, right? But I wish I knew about it and connected with it the way I do now. Because in high school, man, there are so many pressures, whether it's wearing the right, pair of shoes or pair of jeans. I mean, my dad would never let me wear a pair of Janko jeans, but I wanted them so bad in high school.
Why wouldn't he let you wear them?
Because they were worldly, and
aren't Levi's worldly too?
Yeah, dude, that's a whole other conversation, man. Worldly basically means that you're not a Jehovah's Witness. And yes, those were too worldly. It looked worldly. But anyway, the pressures though of having not just the right clothing, but listening to I made sure that I was a fan of the right band or group or singer song, whatever, man. Like there are all these pressures that we have in high school, these preferences really that are forced on us.
Other people's preferences.
Yeah, so they're forced on us through the kids that they were forced on me through the kids I went to school with. They were also forced on me through advertisements.
Media.
Yeah, through the media. So having all of this pressure of other people's preferences, minimalism would have been great to help me filter through all those preferences to really figure out what it was that would have added value to my life as a teenager. Because, dude, I'm so glad I'm not in high school anymore, dude. Some people look back and like, man, I really miss high school. I do not miss high school.
No.
I do not miss being confused. I do not miss not being able to decide on my own preferences. But I do like to think that if I, again, would have connected with minimalism like I do now, that maybe it would have been a little bit better for me, a little bit less hectic.
I agree. I think that when I think about the high school years and my preferences, and they were often dictated by other people's expectations. But guess what? That also happened in my 20s, and it would have continued to happen in my 30s and my 40s and my 50s, other people's expectations. And what I've learned from a lot of our events that we're going out, when these teenagers are showing up, it used to be that like parents were dragging their teenagers to our events. And now we have teenagers dragging their parents to the event. In fact, our event in Louisville recently, we were doing the VIP event beforehand, where we have like a little 45-minute discussion with a small group of 20 to 50 people who have the best seats in the house, basically. And we're just having this conversation. I'm giving this really good talk about minimalism. I feel really good about. All of a sudden, I turn around, and my former boss is there, Jeff Moore. He hired me when I was 18 years old. He's the first person to hire me in telecom. And man, I about crapped my pants. Like, I was like, oh my goodness, here's the guy who, ruined my life for 12 years. He didn't actually. Actually, what Jeff did was he instilled some serious extroversion skills in me, because I was such a shy, extreme introvert that without him taking me on board and forcing me to talk to people via sales and retail sales and door-to-door sales and all this other stuff, I would not have been able to communicate with people the way that I do now, because I was so introverted. There's no way I would have been able to break the spell on my own. I needed that push at first. And so the push for me was the full immersion into that. And he helped me do that. And afterward, we were talking, and it was his 22-year-old daughter, Emily, who dragged him there from Cincinnati down to Louisville to come to our event. And she had found us when she was in college and watched a documentary and read the books, and she was talking to him about our books and our blog and our podcast, and he's like, you really know these guys? And he brought me some old pictures of me when I was 18. I had my head shaved, and I was a mess. I was wearing a suit. I looked like a preacher from.
Did you put any of those on Instagram?
No, I brought the pictures home though, so I probably should. That'd be good.
That would be funny.
I'll give them to Jess for
Throwback
Thursday Instagram stories. She'll enjoy that. But my whole point is, it used to back in the day would have been someone like Jeff bringing his daughter there and saying, "See, you can be a minimalist too." And now what I'm seeing are people like Emily, who are showing their parents like, "Hey, I know you've lived this one way, and I'm not telling you to change your life, but what I'm telling you is." We can always simplify. And for me, that's the number one lesson of minimalism. No matter where you are age-wise, you could be young or old. No matter where you are on the socioeconomic ladder, rich or poor, you and I have been both, and we've been in between.
Mm.
No matter where you are with respect to your age, your socioeconomic status, your social class, no matter where you are geographically, no matter what your ethnicity is, we see people from all walks of life at our events. Minimalism really applies to one group of people who are dissatisfied with whatever the status quo is, and they want to make a change. They want to simplify. And so if you're a teenager and you're unhappy with what the status quo is, then yes. But also if you're a senior citizen and you're unhappy with what the status quo is, then yes, I think minimalism can apply to you. If you're anyone in between and you're unhappy with where the status quo is in your life, then yes, then maybe simplifying a little bit is right for you.